We're really keen on where are the existing pools of demand that can power an economy over the long duration. We've identified three: demand for walkable communities, walkable places, walkable lifestyles, demand for regenerative agriculture, and demand for resource productivity. Those three pools of demand are at historic levels. 60% of Americans want a walkable lifestyle. We need to increase global food supply by 60 to 70% by 2050, and 100% of that has to be regenerative. And then we need to build the future out of a new material palette than we did in the past if we're going to stay within our planetary boundaries. One, for example, is Ford and GM and their exploration of future mobility. Americans want to live a more walkable lifestyle. That means they need different modes of transportation to get them from one walkable place to another. Some of that is going to be an electric vehicle. Some of it's going to be an autonomous system. Some of it's going to be light rail and streetcars. So we see an incredible opportunity to provide transportation services into that future economy where before we would have had products. We've got a very interesting approach to dealing with stranded hydrocarbon assets, oil and gas that we can't burn, but we need to continue to use in our economy. We call it the feedstock shift. Basically, what we're proposing is that we move oil and gas out of combustion and into the material sector. We're changing the end use of the underlying asset. Currently, about 18% of oil and gas is used in the production of plastics, of materials. We'd like to see that ratio of plastics to combustion flipped, and ultimately, we think we're going to need to end atmospheric combustion of oil and gas altogether to stay within planetary limits. But what's exciting is that at the same time we have a requirement for reusing this asset, at the same time the planet needs to find a new palette of materials to build the future out of. So China is pouring record amounts of concrete into the urban environment to build its cities. But globally, concrete contributes about 5% of global carbon emissions. What we propose is that oil and gas move out of combustion into building materials so that we're building the future, building primarily buildings, but also other infrastructure, roads, bridges, et cetera, and take advantage of the superior performance characteristics of polymer composites. They're lighter, they're stronger than conventional materials, and they have, in a side-by-side comparison, they have a much lower emissions profile. We think it's a win-win. It's a great way to bridge into the future, and it's a way that the oil and gas sector can see a positive, profitable pathway into the future. There is a lot of technology that needs to be developed. In the material space, there's going to be a lot of new types of production processes, of manufacturing techniques. We're going to need to generate industrial heat through non-combustive methods, right? We're going to need to concentrate solar power. We're going to need to discharge large batteries to generate industrial heat. Some of these technologies don't exist anymore, and we're going to need to really set our labs, whether they're private labs, publicly funded labs, educational labs, to that task. It's a real strategic priority in the same way figuring out nuclear energy was in the last generation. So that's going to be exceptionally important. At the same time, however, we don't need to wait for any new R&D to get started. I think that's the big point I want to drive home today, is that we've got the technology to get moving on this. We know how to build homes. We know how to build roads. The Dutch are already laying polymer concrete roads. Those roads can also be photovoltaic collectors. We have the ability to do this today. Really, the question is more about scaling up some of these existing technologies. and then generating the incentive for the future generations of R&D to make them even more efficient.